I'm Amane, and why does Kazuki treat the sick and injured people better than she treats me?
All of a sudden, there was a complex and intense mixture of feelings unease, irritation, anxiety, and others I couldn't quite put into words, swirling unpleasantly and around in my chest.
そんなに広岡が可愛いならあいつと付き合えばいいじゃんかよ。
She's fucking dying! What do you want? Damn! I mean, it's the the dying, starving part that's, hold on a second here, self. What the fuck did you just say? I mean, what? You'd almost think I was jealous here or something. Well, huh. Now that I think about it, maybe I really am a little jealous. But, Kazuki and I are both girls, so, who knows what exactly is going on here? That doesn't matter. Sometimes pet dogs get all cranky when they see their master doting on someone else's mutt. Maybe this is something similar. Oh, the dog fucking metaphors and shit. Oh. I knew it was downright weird for me to be feeling this way, but the irritation was real, and it wasn't going to go away. Maybe I should just throw my dignity to the wind and give her a nasty bite the next time she tries to give me a treat.
あなた今変なこと考えているでしょう。
You'd be right about that one.
カズキ、何のこと？
Silly and stupid.
私はあなたを一番信頼しているし、あなたに一番頼っているのは事実よ。
See? That's straight up a fact.
私がどこへ行こうと、結局最後にはあなたのところへ帰ってくるのだから、あなたはどっしりと構えて待っていればいいのよ。
She was about to throw that same dignity out the window.
何言ってるの？わからない？私にはあなたが必要だってそう言っているのよ。あまね、こっちにいらっしゃい。
Oh, just give her ye old pets.
なんで？
Shh, just start rubbing her head like shh.
首のところ血が出てるわ。
Oh yeah, the bleeding and the I'm starving and the blood loss and the glavins.
あ、これはヒルに噛まれて痛くないから平気だよ。
Oh, that's gonna hurt later.
血が止まっていないじゃない。そのままにしておけば何時間も止まらないわよ。いいからいらっしゃい。
And she's bleeding from her neck and both her legs. So there you go. Kazuki reached her small arms up, drawing my head down toward her, then pressed her lips against the scruff of my neck. After briefly running her tongue along the area of the leech bite, she began to suck out the wound. I mean, I know you're supposed to do this, but Kazuki's getting real sexy right now.
いや、カズキ、そんなに強く吸ったら出ちゃうよ。
That's exactly what she's trying to do, yes?
全部吸い出してあげるわ。
Oof. It's getting a little hot out here, sucking out venom or toxicity right now, or what? What the hell is this? Why does this have to be so pointlessly erotic? Because it's great. Kazuki's small lips, they're small and soft and kind of feel nice. This isn't good. Now I'm getting in a weird mood. She sucked the blood and anti-coagulant out of my neck until her mouth was full, spat it out, then came right back for more. Ooh. I understood she was performing medical treatment, but every time Kazuki's lips touched me, my body quivered. Every time she exhaled through her nose, her breath tickled my cheek, and strange little noises leaked out of my mouth. And... oh, she's gonna be making a lot of those noises later in her life. Uh-oh. This is, listen, this is awkward. In a daze, my eyes half closed. I whimpered nasally. It took me a good minute for me to realize that Sakuma-senpai was standing nearby, arms folded, taking in the whole scene with a smirk on her face.
やれやれ。随分と大胆だね、君たちも。
Listen, how about you get down on your knees and suck at my feet or my legs, because that's also got bleeding down there.
違いますよ。これはそういうんじゃなくて、そう、ヒルです。
The leech! It was the leech, damn it!
私森でヒルに噛まれて、それでこれは血が止まらないから、そのカズキが。
It'd be funny if Kazuki was like, actually this isn't necessary, but I figured it'd be funny to do this.
何、別に責めているわけじゃないよ。愛情には様々な形があってしかりだと私は思っているしね。
Damn. Sakuma thinks like how most people should probably think nowadays, right?
だからこれは別に愛情とかそういうことじゃなくて治療ですよ。
It's an act of sucking out the shit out of my fucking wound.
治療だって愛情だろ。君、誰に何の言い訳をしているんだい？
Well, technically I'm trying to convince you, but it's not working. I'm mad. I like to think Kazuki's still going.
アマネをいじめると楽しいのは理解できますけど、それはペアである私の特権です。あまりアマネをからかわないでください、佐久間先輩。
You don't have that privilege. Only Kazuki truly does.
横暴だな。アマネはみんなのアマネだよ。
Excuse me? I belong to myself, alright?
そう思うのは勝手ですけどね。それで私のアマネに何かご用でも？
It's just so awkward, like this is happening, and then she just walks up and doesn't say anything, she just watches for a little bit, and then Amane's like, ah!
意外と独占欲が強いな、君。まあいいさ。
Like, think so. Because it's Kazuki.
トイレを作るんだろ。さっき部長が来て、手が空いているものがいたらアマネを手伝えって言われてきたんだよ。
Oh yeah, I was gonna build a toilet! That was the perfect plan!
あ、助かります。
いいさ、どうせ暇だしね。することがないと落ち込むばかりだ。
I'm kind of the same way, but I don't get all depressed when I'm not doing something. I just get antsy. I always gotta be doing something.
これは私だけかもしれないけど、体を動かしている方が苦痛を感じないし、何もしないでいる方が疲れるんだよ。
I mean, in this situation, yeah, you'd be all depressed if you weren't doing anything, because you're just sitting there thinking, oh my god, like, you know.
というわけで、アマネを借りていくよ。悪いね、風見。
No, no! Fucking Kazuki, save me!
わかりました。くれぐれも大切に扱ってくださいね。
And by save me, I mean follow me. Don't let me go alone with them.
あ、カズキ。
What if this is all elaborate ruse to get them to eat me? We're on like day 7. I'm just expecting it at every corner.
いいんだよ。いつもそばにいる便利な女だと思われていると苦労ばかりが増えるよ。たまには距離を置くのも悪くはないさ。ほら、行くよ。
はい。
Whatever. Let's just build this toilet. Alright. The last few days, both Captain Shakashita and Mr. Ochi had been absent from the camp more often than not because they're probably fucking in the goddamn woods. I hate them. I have like no evidence of that. I'm just like accusing them. They were supposedly investigating the forest, but we hadn't gotten much specific information about what that involved. Fucking! With our teacher, the team's official figurehead, and the captain, its true leader, both absent, well, the majority of the group looked to Kazami Kazuki Occupation Student for orders. To be perfectly honest, there were a considerable number of people who openly scowled at the idea of accepting instructions from an arrogant, sharp-tongued freshman. But she's a genius, so we probably should. But by nature, people turn to competence over formal authority in times of crisis. And it was simply a fact that our efficiency as a group increased when command of the camp passed from Captain Shakashita to Kazuki, because the captain sucks and is probably only thinking about penis! She carefully assessed everyone's personality and skills and assigned them appropriate jobs, placing a moderate responsibility on every individual's shoulders. Though, through her consistent distribution of tasks, we had all naturally become aware of our roles, quickly learning to bring certain tasks to certain people without her direct intervention. She'd created a framework that enabled us to be productive, like a good leader should. This toilet construction operation was a good example. Kazuki didn't stand on the sidelines directing us, but her initial planning divided us into teams. One group dug the hole, one group repurposed a chair from the bus into a seat, and one group focused on creating a sturdy roof that wouldn't leak in heavy rain. And she designed a clear procedure for the job, with logical, easy to remember steps, carefully tuned to compensate for our small number of workers. By following our instructions, we managed to finish the job rather quickly. English. Isn't it like... We managed to finish the job rather quickly. There's like typos in this route, and I don't understand. Which is weird, because this game has been solid, like, the whole way through without typos for the most part. But then you get to Amane's round, they're all over the fucking place, apparently. I don't really care, though. The completed toilet wasn't much to look at, granted. In fact, it was unmistakably a ramshackle hut slapped together by novice carpenters, but it was functional enough. Of a particular note was our makeshift septic tank, filled with gasoline extracted from the bus. I don't know how I feel about that. As an effective countermeasure against flies, maggots, and other pests. That's actually pretty smart, though. It helped ease our concerns about creating a hub for transmitting disease. If Kazuki hadn't been there, I doubt we would have come up with that idea, much less implemented it. Given such clear displays of competence, even those who dislike Kazuki on a personal level were growing increasingly reliant on her leadership. Although in some cases, only grudgingly and out of necessity. Get out of here, you losers. As the sun declined to the... Holy shit, that's loud. I hope it's loud for you. As the sun declined in the west and the fierce heat and humidity finally began to die down, I set about making weed soup, using our meager allocation of rice and the vegetables we'd been able to gather in the forest. Today, that job was far larger than it had been at first. For quite some time, every pair had carefully prepared supper for themselves, probably out of paranoia about the possibility of having some of their food snatched secretly away. But for the last few days, I'd increasingly been assuming the role of camp cook. Because, Amane. I went along with the new responsibility easily enough, since I'd been preparing meals for the wounded Hiroka and Sakurai all along. Increasing the quantity to feed more of the group wasn't really much more of a hassle. I guess everyone finally figured, might as well just leave the cooking to the girl who grew up in a restaurant or something. Probably another effect of Kazuki's emphasis on effectively dividing our workload. Can these cicadas fucking stop? Or these birds or whatever the fuck just in my ear, please? As I struck a fire under the primitive cooking furnace we'd constructed from moderately sized stones, the various pairs brought forward their mess kits, offering up all the ingredients they had on hand. Apart from the small quantities of rice and vegetables distributed at the beginning of the day, each aluminum rice cooker had a range of unidentifiable weeds and wild grasses picked from the forest. Today, there were quite a number of snails as well. Good! Fucking eat those snails! Surprisingly, Komori had gathered most of the small, slimy creatures, and an above-average quantity, although an extremely random assortment, of vegetation to boot. She'd taken her pet dog into the forest and walked a good ways in, gathering anything that seemed even vaguely edible, then found her way back to the camp without a hitch. Apparently, the dog had memorized the way back by scent. Ooh, that's useful! Too bad we're gonna eat him. Oh my god. No! After the first success, Komori made a daily habit of approaching Kazuki with random plants that caught her eye on trips, asking which might be edible. Oh, thank God that sound's over. When night came, our short-sleeved uniforms were, as always, inadequate protection against the chill air. Having finished our dinner, Kazuki and I set off for the large tent and half-forced Hiroka to eat. With that finished, we finally made our way to Captain Shakashida's tent, as we'd promised earlier in the day. Oh, God damn it. She was waiting for us with Koide-senpai inside their tent, where a small candle provided dim, flickering illumination. Oh, no.
こんばんは。
Kazuki, hold me. Kazuki offered a polite greeting, her tone of voice suggesting she'd just arrived fashionably late to a high society gathering. Captain Shakashida responded with a curt, "There you are," then glanced at Koide and gave a little jerk of her head, prompting her partner to leave the tent.
どうぞ入って。
Ooh, this is gonna get deep, isn't it? Inviting us to sit with a sardonic, sorry, I can't offer you any tea. Captain Sakashida got right down to business before we'd even settled ourselves on the ground.
怪我人の様子は？
One's not doing so hot, the other's fine.
悪化はしていませんが、順調に回復しているとは言えません。
Yeah, they're kind of just neutral grounding it right now.
そう。
For one thing, Hiroka-san's broken legs wouldn't have just miraculously fixed themselves in a few days, even under ideal circumstances. And Sakurai-senpai's abdominal wound was healing very slowly, thanks to her worsening state of malnutrition and the absence of antibiotics to fight her infection. As an added misery, the intense heat and humidity had left her with a painful skin condition. What? Even the comparatively lightly wounded Kanada's health needed to be monitored closely, given the poor sanitary conditions of the camp. For the last few humid days, she'd been complaining about her wound's constant itchiness. We warned her repeatedly not to scratch, but she had nonetheless picked up a troublesome habit of sticking twigs under her bandage, ow God, and tearing at her stitches. No, you stupid... Oh my God. Have some self-control! And apart from those who'd been wounded in the crash, many of the healthy girls were beginning to show increasingly advanced symptoms of malnutrition. Faces were swelling noticeably as our vitamin deficiencies grew more pronounced. Some girls had begun to complain of minor ailments. To be honest, we were past the point of monitoring the situation closely. It was slowly but surely crumbling before our very eyes. Captain Shakashida listened to this summary from start to finish in silence. When it was over, she again answered with a brief, "I see." After a moment, she leaned forward to look into Kazuki's face and spoke. And for a moment, I disbelieved my ears.
つまり、彼女たち怪我人は無駄飯ぐらいというわけね。
Well, what, excuse me?
それは。
Excuse me? With a start, I realized why Captain Shakashida had driven Koide from her tent. Whatever the circumstances, she was our leader, and in speaking these words, she had just betrayed that responsibility. This bitch! Maybe we'd all thought the same in some dark corner of our mind, but no one had voiced that ugly thought. And now the captain had coolly just thrown it out in the open. She understood as well as we did that a quiet, crippling pessimism regarding the food situation had begun to spread among the group. If we were to continue on these meager rations, the currently able-bodied girls would eventually be reduced to invalids. Without adequate nourishment, our physical strength would be drained, sapping us of the energy to work. And with our bodies weakened, disease would spread all too easily around the camp. Simply by existing, the wounded were acting as a heavy drain on our precious supply of food. Their presence was reducing everyone else's ration. Ultimately, this might soon give rise to more sick people, exponentially worsening the problem. When we weigh the lives of the wounded and the healthy against each other, the former will always be lighter on the scales. In this harsh environment, that pragmatic calculation felt all the more obvious. We don't have the elbow room to be handing out rations to those who can't work. The captain's argument was coherent enough, and I understood that she had little choice but to approach our situation with conservative caution. But nevertheless, her words sounded like betrayal. A justification of her unburdening ourselves of a load that had grown troublesome to carry. an excuse to abandon our friends and save ourselves.
私にずる賢く生きろと言ったのは風見さん。あなたよ。
That's different. don't even. Don't, I don't want to see your face.
ええ、確かに。でも、ずる賢く生きるのと弱者を吊るし上げて憂さを晴らすのとでは意味が全然違います。
Damn. Got her. God, this is like the worst fucking captain, leader, bitch ass fucking.
だったらあなたはその弱者の口をまかない切るだけの食料を持ち合わせているの？
Well, did you have enough bitchiness to save us? I don't think so.
いいえ、残念ながら。
Look at this fucking smug ass looking. So dumb.
口だけの綺麗事ならいくらでも言えます。あなたのいい人ごっこに付き合わされて日々体力を落とす部員たちの迷惑を少しは考えてみては？
Damn, even Kazuki can't talk. Those spiteful words were all too clearly a deliberate act of revenge for Kazuki's insults this afternoon. Yep. Whether she was at a loss for words or simply too exasperated to speak wasn't clear, but Kazuki offered no reply other than a short, tired little sigh. I'd long before decided to keep my silence and leave this conversation entirely to Kazuki, but all of a sudden I found myself unable to suppress the urge to object. Yes! Do it, Amane!
それはあんまりですよ。怪我人は餓死するまで見殺しなんですか？
She's like, no, I have a new plan! To eat the wounded!
そうは言っていないでしょ。
You pretty much did say that, you stupid fucking... I just want to fucking wring her neck. I'm gonna eat her first. For the first time in the conversation, the captain turned to me. She'd grown gaunt in recent days, leaving her cheekbones so prominent that her eyes seemed to have sunken into her face. It made her grim gaze seem all the more severe.
配給の優先度を下げると言っただけで一切の食事を与えないわけではないわ。もちろん今後も適度な量を配給します。どうせ動けないのだからお腹もあまり減らないのでしょ。
それは違います。
I mean, granted, Hiroka didn't really eat for like, what, a couple days anyway, because of the whole thing. Burp, so, like, oh my god. There was another reason Hiroka-san had refused to eat that afternoon. And with the construction of the toilet, that problem had been eliminated. We could simply help her to the toilet seat and let her relieve herself in privacy, removing the biggest psychological roadblock to her recovery.
いいのよ、アマネ。部長の言い分も決して間違いではないのよ。
Well, fuck, if Kazuki says so.
でも
Guess I gotta say, go with Kazuki on this
広
one.
岡さんには私の分の配給を分配します。
Oh, okay, that's sweet. Then we'll do the same.
それなら文句はないでしょ。
なぜ私に確認するのかしら。あなたの食料なのだからあなたが勝手にすればいいわ。
What have you, like, actually done for us exactly? Like, we've been doing all the work while you and the captain, not the captain, the teacher go off in the jungle to, you know.
ではそうします。
Wow. Kazuki leaned forward in a very slight bow as she stood, lightly speaking the words, "Let's return," in my general direction. She abruptly left the tent.
待ってよ、カズキ。
Oh, Lord.
はい、なに？じゃないよ。どうして何も言い返さないの？言うだけ無駄だと思ったからよ。そんなの、私はカズキのことだから絶対に食ってかかると思っていたし、いつもみたいに文句の一つも言って強引に丸め込めばよかったのに。あなた何を言っているの？文句というのは相手の言動や態度が間違っていたり正しかったとしても気に入らない時につけるものよ。それ以外の時に口にする言葉のことは難癖というの。覚えておきなさい。なんだよそれ。 全然納得できないよ、和樹。言ったでしょ。部長の言っていることも間違いではないのよ。
But I don't like it.
だからって怪我人の食事を減らすなんて間違ってるよ。
And they'd probably notice that they weren't getting their food, like, as much food as they would previously, compared to everyone else.
だから私の食事を分けてあげるんじゃない。ノープロブレム。
No problem.
全然ノープロブレムじゃないよ。忘れてるかもしれないけど、和樹だって怪我人なんだよ。
Oh, fuck. She's right! I didn't even this whole time I'm just like I realized, yes, her arm's broken, but I didn't even like consider that. In my mind I was like, alright, the injured are what's who's it's and what's who's it's, and there we go. And that what's her who's it's, but fuck that. And I only was like, there's only 3 of the people that are actually wounded. But then it's fucking Kazuki too. God damn it. How did that slip my mind? Whatever.
分かってるって。
Whatever.
何をどう分かってるっていうのさ。やっぱり今からでも部長に言って考え直してもらおうよ。こんなの間違ってるって和樹が文句を言えば絶対なんとかなるし、言うだけ言ってみようよ。
I don't know if it's going to.
いやあね、あなたの口ぶりではまるで私が何にでも噛みつくどこかのヒステリー女みたいじゃない。私だって世の中すべての間違いに文句をつけるわけではないのよ。そうかな。
Personally, I kind of had this image of Kazuki waving a battle flag emblazoned with the words, "We must correct the world," on some vague battlefield. Then charging forth at the head of the vanguard, all Jeanne d'Arc style, leading a glorious crusade. Wait, is that Jonah? No, that's... Anyway, leading a glorious crusade across the mistake-riddled modern age.
私ほど間違いに寛大な女はいないわよ。考えてもごらんなさいな。私が坂下部長に、あなたなぜ生まれてきたのと質問しているところを見たことがある？
Damn. Why were you born?
ないけど。ちょっと待って。今なんかさらっとものすごいこと言わなかった？
I liked it. It was pretty funny. That kind of sounded like an indirect way of implying that girl should never have been born to me.
慈悲深くも寛大な私の資料を理解できたのなら、さっさとテントに戻りましょう。そろそろ眠くなってきたわ。和樹ってさ、そういうとこマイペースだよね。
I think Kazuki stays nice and beautiful all the time. It was already past 9 p.m. I looked up at the sky through the trees, empty except for the bright moon and twinkling stars. The helicopter we'd seen for a brief few moments on the second day had been absent ever since. I strained my ears, but heard only the chirping of bugs. No cars running on the road above. Nothing. Why hadn't anybody noticed? There's a group of girls right down here suffering so much. I was seized by the meaningless desire to scream for help at the moon, but I knew I'd only be making my throat hoarse. That early summer night, only the lonesome voices of insects echoed through the rock valley. Oh no. Oh no, eighth day under the dome. Stop with the cicada noises and shit. The 8th day under the dome! Rain fell in the night, and the morning was cold. My chilled hand trembled slightly as I wrote. Come to think of it, was there even a point to keeping this diary in the first place? Thinking about it would always drain me of the will to write, but I never found an excuse to quit either. My pen moved mechanically across the pages. Fucking Kazuki. Fortunately, the rain had stopped before today's morning muster. Perhaps I'd become used to being drummed out of bed at the same time every morning, as recently I was waking up naturally 15 minutes before 6. For the first few days, it had been difficult to sleep at night because of my hunger, but by now I was sleeping like a stone. and fasting at night actually seemed to make waking up in the mornings easier. Also, my stomach might be eating itself. That said, getting out of bed once awake was growing increasingly difficult. I had no choice but to spend 15 minutes in bed waiting for my blood pressure to rise until I could stand up without instantly becoming lightheaded. Oh god. This morning, Professor Kazami's tour of inspection proceeded as usual. The valley was shrouded in a cold, damp mist. As we made our way around the examination line, many of the girls were swaying unsteadily on their feet, their bodies still not fully awake.
おはよう、いぶきさん。今朝の体調はどうかしら？
Dying.
まあ、ぼちぼちです。
She's also going insane.
疲れた顔をしているわね。私たちがここへ来て今日で何日目だったかしら？
え？8日目？
そう、8日目。今朝は寒いわね。昨日と比べてどっちが寒い？
Oh, she like trying to gauge I know what she's doing. She's like trying to figure out how her mind's working, how her body's working, all this shit.
昨日はそんなに寒くなかったと思うけど、むしろ暑かったぐらいで。
ええ、そうね。お母様はお元気？今年でおいくつになられたのかしら？
何急に？
いいから教えてくださらない？
Or is it like also to keep her mind on certain things?
母は、多分元気。今年で42歳。
この子の名前は？
Oh. Kazuki grabbed my arm and pulled me over. The fuck?
Amane.
Oh my god. Oh, okay.
名字を教えてくれる？スオーよ。だいぶ疲れが溜まっているみたいね。無理もないわ。私たちがここへ来て今日で何日目だったかしら？
Dear Lord.
考えるのが面倒になった？でも考えて。今日は何日目？
4日目。
Okay, the insanity and the... Well, not insanity, just... It's all going downhill.
あらびっくり。ウェルニッケ脳症かしら？チアミン不足ね。
Smiling brightly, Kazuki leaned over and softly whispered into my ear.
今から言うことをメモして。
Yes, ma'am. I hastily brought my pen to the memo pad. Chronic wernic encephalopathy. Symptoms of Korsakoff's dementia. Oh, Jesus. Serious thiamine, vitamin B1 deficiency. We knew it was vitamin deficiency. We knew it had grown serious, but that diagnosis wasn't much good to us. We didn't have any needles, and more importantly, we didn't have any dietary supplements to fill them with. Of course, a dietetic regimen with lots of pork, liver, and milk could have gotten the job done as well. But we didn't have enough food to satisfy even our basic caloric requirements. Could you imagine after this is over, like you just drink some milk, or like eat a big old steak, and you're just... You'd probably die right then and there, just from the flavor. The only thing we could do for Ibuki was give her an encouraging thump on the shoulder.
耐えろ。
And express the hope her youthful resilience would pull her through. Oh, that is scary. None of this was limited to Ibuki Haruna either. The majority of the group was beginning to suffer from vitamin deficiencies. Light fever, joint pains, shortness of breath were widespread. After our standard round of inspections came to an end, everyone dragged themselves right back to their tents because fuck that noise. The morning was unpleasantly cold, and the pervasive sense of physical exhaustion didn't help either. Nobody wanted to wander off into the humid forest, where the chilly fog hung thick as a cloud. By the time noon rolled around, the temperature had risen dramatically. Oh, thank goodness. And people began to crawl out of their stuffy tents in search of cool air. For another thing, we needed to dry our sleeping bags and mats in the sun, as they'd grown rather damp from the humid night air and our sweat. Like the others, I pulled the bedding out of our tent, spreading them out on a long, flat rock nearby. Naturally, I took Katsuki's as well. Ooh. I began to beat the sleeping bags with a tree branch. Dust and dead mites fly out in little clouds with every impact. My stomach growled miserably at the exercise. Just as Kazuki declared yesterday, she had begun to add much of her rations to Hiroka's meals. Of course, this was being kept secret from Hiroka-san herself. At this rate, Kazuki wouldn't last long. When I told her I was worried, she'd laugh off my worries with some cliche about starving samurai making particularly leisurely use of their toothpick. Then added that a leader doesn't need to eat, they just need to act like they're eating. Alright? The words had given me a spig of a start. It was certainly true that everyone was relying on Kazuki, but I was surprised she'd come to think of herself as a leader. All of a sudden, I heard someone shouting in a clearly angry tone of voice, and my hand stopped in mid-swing. Sound carries well through humid air. The bellowing voice of our team's advisor, Mr. Ochi, reverberated impressively all around the Rock Valley. We haven't seen actually him on the screen in a long time. It's like he's not even here. That's also another reason I don't trust him, or I don't like him, or anything. Also, he's good with the captain. I'm just saying. You know.
盗んだのは誰だ俺の荷物から食料を盗んだ者は正直に名乗り出ろ
Oh my god, this fucking guy, dude. I didn't understand the exact details, but apparently someone had stolen food from Mr. Ochi's personal belongings. Like, that he had this whole time. In the distance, I saw him lifting his rucksack high in the air, his face flushed with red anger. But buddy, you better calm down, you're gonna pass out because you don't have the nutrition. Glancing around the area, I found the others who had left their tents fixedly studying the ground, carefully avoiding eye contact with our teacher. Kanada Senpai, still focused on scraping out the burnt grains of rice stuck to the corners of her cooker, softly mumbled, "What a joke," without even raising her head. Damn!
誰なんだ今正直に名乗り出れば処分を考えないでもないぞ
先生の勘違いじゃないんですか
Like, I don't, oh god.
そんなことはない
一体何がなくなったというんですか
Yeah, tell us that first.
それは
Huh? Mr. Ochi stumbled awkwardly over his words. From the looks of things, the missing food had probably been something he'd hidden away. Like an asshole! Instead of contributing to the common stock.
とにかくこの中の誰かが盗んだのは間違いないんだ
You know what? I wouldn't even feel bad. Fuck you. Even now, his shouts bore the righteous, authoritative tone of a scolding teacher, but we weren't in the classroom. His students responded only with irritated scowls. Of course, I also furrowed my brow at Mr. Ochi's actions. No matter how much he bellowed, it was perfectly obvious the culprit wasn't going to come forward. And in doing so, he was planting the idea of stealing from others in the minds of all the girls who'd been honestly enduring their hunger until now. So if I get hungry, I can just steal food from someone else, right? As long as I keep my mouth shut, nobody's going to find out. It looks like everybody else is doing it anyway. The only thing Mr. Ochi was accomplishing with this triad, or triad, was sowing these dangerous thoughts in the back of our minds. When the single carrot went missing from Koide Senpai's tent earlier, Kazuki had skillfully concealed the incident in order to avoid this exact situation. Exactly! Now it was all for nothing. Without a doubt, this problem would reoccur in the future. In order for people to live as human beings, 3 basic rules need to be respected. 1, don't steal. 2, don't destroy. 3, don't kill. All these are going to be fucked up by the end of this. these broad principles that define the minimum standard of ethical behavior. And in our little community, one of those three had just been irrevocably broken. They say that liars often end up as thieves, but the opposite is just as true. When we become thieves, we begin to lie. Deceiving and deceived in turn, we snatch the food from each other's mouths. Before long, accusations fly, thefts become brazen, retaliatory, fist-fight fights break out. In the end, some turn outright violence, attacking others, destroying their property, taking what they want by force. All trust is lost. If things were to reach that stage, it would be all over. None of us would survive. We would destroy ourselves over fucking little scraps of food. Kazuki had anticipated this outcome from the very beginning. Yeah! That afternoon, I was in the forest with Kazuki, gathering edible plants, brooding on the morning's events. I long since lost track of how many times I'd asked her the question on my tongue, but I couldn't help myself.
ねえ、カズキ、私たちこれからどうなるのかな?
See, all that, the trust, not there anymore, shattered, gone.
14回目。あなたがその質問を私にした回数。いちいち数えてるの?
I feel like she's not like doing it on purpose. She's just a genius, though.
この質問何回目だっけと聞かれたら答えてあげようと思って。
And Kazuki's reply too was the same repetitive phrase as always. What will be, will be. There's no way to know how this will end. She certainly seemed fond of it, but to be honest, I'd always thought it was a bit of a non-answer. Certainly didn't make me feel much better.
オチ先生は明日ここを出ていくそうよ。
Like he's just leaving?
出ていくってどうして?
Like just bye? Okay, thanks.
数日かけて周辺を調べて、なんとか下山できそうな目処が立ったそうよ。
Okay, apparently having finally decided just yesterday to leave and get help, fucking Mr. Ochi had been preparing for this departure this morning. His departure. During this process, he noticed that the hidden food had gone missing from his rucksack.
先生が隠し持っていたのは、合宿の夜にこっそりと楽しんでいた晩酌で、ビールのつまみにと用意していたミニサラミだったらしいわね。サラミか。
We could all eaten that salami, and it would have been fucking great. An Italian sausage, ground pork, seasoned with spices and cured by drying. Preserved food like that would make for ideal rations, as it doesn't go bad easily. You could slice it up thinly and drop it on a pizza, or maybe mince it and mix it into a big plate of pasta. Just imagining the spicy, salty taste left my mouth overflowing with drool.
誰が取ったのかな? それは重要な問題じゃないわ。オチ先生としては誰も名乗り出なかったのがショックだったみたいね。もう限界だって泣きそうな顔をしていたわ。
Like whoever stole it needs to be like, needed to know that was there. I feel like none of us would really know that was there unless it was someone close to him. I don't know. Like, hey, I got this salami. Like, yeah. From the beginning, Mr. Ochi said he wasn't really cut out for the job. As for why, apparently he simply had a hard time dealing with women in general because he's a loser. I just hate this guy. Given that his job involved corralling girls at the most emotional stage of adolescence, he found the experience immensely nerve-wracking at the best of times. And now, of all things, he was living under terrible conditions with a pack of desperate girls, increasingly crushed under the pressure of their excessive expectations. He has done nothing. Really, it was hardly surprising he'd want to make a break for it as soon as humanly possible. Just ditching.
先生がいなくなったら、私たちどうなるんだろう?
Everything will go by more smoothly because it's another mouth to not feed. And he's done literally nothing! Nothing, the game has not told us, or the story has not told us anything of that he's actually done. Other than, you know, the digging the bodies and shit like that.
こういう言い方は先生に対して甚だ失礼だとは思うけれど、体制に影響はないと思うわよ。
Exactly! He has done nothing! It doesn't change! To be sure, Mr. Ochi was never exactly a powerful presence. Even during our normal team activities, I'd always thought of him as more of a cushion between the official authority of the school and the day-to-day management, which was almost entirely handled by our team captain. Still, we had more faith in him than that might suggest. He was an adult with legal responsibility to us, and not that he gives a fuck. And as a man, he was better physically equipped to handle certain jobs. His presence here had been subtly reassuring in that way, allowing us to slip back into the comfortingly passive role of students. And while he wasn't much for stopping our fights, the fact that a teacher was watching acted as a significant check on our behavior. If Mr. Ochi were to leave the camp tomorrow, we'd lose our only real authority figure here. Wasn't there a chance his departure could become the spark that would set off a descent into something uglier? Foreshadowing!
不安だよ、カズキ。
Oh, it'll be fine.
大丈夫よ。もしもの時は私があなたを守ってあげるから。ね。
Also more foreshadowing. You'd think she was an elder sister calming a frightened younger sibling, because she's probably used to that. Her words were immensely reassuring, but also inspired something very close to shame. It felt as though I'd just forced the responsibility onto Kazuki's overburdened shoulders out of nothing more than pathetic weakness. My face crumpled bitterly, and I could feel my tears building behind my eyes.
もしもの時って？もしもの時はもしもの時。多くは想定外の好ましくない事態に遭遇した状況を指してそう呼びます。
Like when we start fighting and eating each other. It'll be great! God damn it.
これ以上、まだ状況が悪くなるってこと？
Have you ever considered eating people? It's pretty good. Oh my god. I'm trying to make myself happy because I know it's all gonna go down.
まあ、なるでしょうね。でも心配はいらないわ。もしも何かを犠牲にしなければあなたを守れないという状況になったら、私は全てを犠牲にしてでもあなたを守るから、全然大丈夫。あまね。
Kazuki, stop! Stop it, Kazuki!
嬉しいけど大丈夫だよ。私、自分の身は自分で守るから。
The foreshadowing is just too much, Kazuki! Please!
あら、本当？実は私も自分のことで精一杯な部分もあって、そうしてもらえるとすごく助かるわ。
If you could keep safe, that would be a big help for me. Kazuki was just affirming my own words, but for some reason it felt like she was abandoning me. All of a sudden there was a dull pain in my chest.
大丈夫よ。あまねは強い子だから。ね。
Oh boy. That's right. I can't let myself stay dependent on Kazuki forever. I wanted her words to be true. I wanted to be strong. Strong enough to help her. Strong enough to protect her. Strong enough to be necessary to her. If I couldn't be strong now, I had the feeling I'd be weak forever. Always hiding behind the protection of others. Helpless and worthless until the end of my days. Oh my god, Jesus Christ, that was loud. Okay, why was it really loud right there to just fucking freak me out a little bit? Jesus. And now it's perfectly fine. But, 9th day under the dome. Oh my god. How long was this incident? Oh, fuck. Didn't they say, wasn't it, she did say, right? Fuck. Oh god, it's about, I already know. We're getting close to the end, and I'm feeling it in my bones. I'm feeling it. Everything's about to go down in the next couple days.